So there's now an empty spot where the Quest used to be. Got it sold, and now I just have the DF. But for this little project, this little tech time project, I'm going to be installing some rear mudguards or rear fenders, depending on what side of the Atlantic Ocean you come from. One is for the Vortex, which has a 700 wheel on it, and one is for the Sprint 26. So I'm going to get all that set up, and we'll get them installed. So as you can see, the only difference that I could find between these two is this one is marked for a 26, but when I looked really closely, I think these brackets that hold the fender or the mudguard are actually a little bit shorter on the 26 than they are on the 700 wheel. So that seems to be the only difference. And then I got a boatload of hardware that was originally attached on one of these frames with a little zip tie in a plastic bag, and of course in shipping that broke all open. So hopefully I still have all of the hardware. There was plenty of hardware in the box. Hopefully I have it all. There are 0 instructions on how to install these, so I'm just gonna wing it, if you will, and put them on. It's an ice fender, so it should be pretty easy to set up and install with all of the pre-installed brackets and holds that an ice trike already has on it. So just doing a preliminary test fit here, it looks like I'm not going to have any issues. Have a bolt here, and a bolt up at the front, and I should have plenty of hardware to do that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts total. I may have issues with my neck rest on my trike, so I may have to figure out something different. My neck rest, I have it mounted in reverse, so it's more comfortable for me. I think the neck rest, this part is actually supposed to be up against the seat, but because the way I have my seat mounted, it works better in this position for me. So I may have to consider switching that around to get the fender in there properly. Well, the other thing is I can adjust this attach point here to make it go in and out, to get it fine-tuned, to make sure that it'll line up with the hole where it connects down here. So I can probably just do it that way and it should be fine. Yep, so that's easily adjustable. 10mm nut right here, loosen that up. That allows this arm to be moved in position right where it needs to be, so this is not going to be any issue. I think I can still leave my neck rest where it is. Works good. So then I'm just going to take this bolt, put a washer on it, put that through the fender, add the spacer on the other side of the fender. So in calculating all the washers, it looks like I might be a little bit short on the washer count, because if I put all these washers on, I won't have enough to do it like I think they're supposed to go, and since there were no instructions, it's hard to tell. So I'm going to go grab washers out of the spare washer bin, and I will be right back. So as it turns out, I don't have any spare washers that are the right kind, or at least the kind that match, but I do have some of these nylon washers that were left over from another project. Actually, was another project on my farm channel, and this is from putting the shed together, and I'll leave a link to that up there if you want to go check out my other channel. As always, I try and do things with the minimal effort, and in this case I tried to see if I could do it with the wheel installed. That one bolt is going to make it to where I can't do it, so I will put that one on the front of the fender, put the wheel back on, and then I'll mount the side ones and get them all aligned. But looks like you have to take the wheel off to get to this. On the 700, I'm definitely going to have to take the wheel off to get to that one. For those that are keen observers, you notice that when I put this back on, I forgot the spacer, so gotta make sure that the spacer gets put in there. Okay, so now that I've got that one mounted and I've got the spacer in there and I've got where it needs to be, it's tightened up, it's fine. I'm gonna put the wheel back on because it makes the trike more sturdy when I'm doing this work. Remember, when tightening your quick release axle, it doesn't have to be super tight. It's just got to be tight enough to hold the wheel in. You don't really have to gorilla wrench it on to make sure that it's never going to move. Your wheel's not going to fall out. The odds of it falling out are very low. It's got to be tight, but it doesn't have to be excessively tight. That bolt on there goes all the way through. The axle bolt goes all the way through, and it's a rather thin bolt. There's no reason to put so much torque on it that it really takes a lot of force to open this lever. Something to keep in mind. Okay, so unfortunately it looks like I'm going to have to change my neck rest position and turn it around to where it's the other way, and that means I'm going to have to readjust the neck rest and do some of that stuff, because it's just not going to fit in here with this bracket here. It's going to run up against the seat. I don't have a problem customizing this, which means cutting it a little bit short, but I'm still going to have to get in there to do that, and I need to get in there to adjust it. So I might have to play around with this one for a little bit. Now I bet some of you are saying, why doesn't he just move the brackets out a little bit? That bar will stretch a little bit, and then you don't have to flip everything around and take everything off. I heard you. That's what I was doing. So you can see where the bracket was here and here, and I've just scooted it out. Now I should be able to fit the fenders with these bars with no issues. So I don't know if you really noticed that, but I was having a little trouble with my Allen wrench, so I just popped out to the shop, cut off the ends of both sides, and filed it down to get them sharp again, because they had been a little bit rounded off. It's brand new hardware, so I know that the problem wasn't in the screw. So I looked at my Allen wrench, and it had been worn just a little bit, rounded off a little bit, which was not allowing it to bite enough into the head of the bolt, so I couldn't tighten it enough, so had to fix a tool real quick. Oh. That works so much better. Alright, so there's the first one fitted on the Sprint X26. The next one I'll install is the 700, which is the Vortex 2. I'll get that knocked out, and then I'll be right back to show you the results. So just so you know, if money is an issue, or if you don't want to fit such a large fender, you could fit something like this. This is just made out of ABS plastic that's been formed with a heat gun and molded into kind of this shape. The problem with this one is, at least for the ELB, it's too small. And that's why the rocks and things end up in her hair, and she's like, I don't like that. And I noticed since I've started to grow my hair long that I get it in mine too, so that's why I bought one for both trikes. Still allows for the folding and whatnot, but this is a good solution if you want something smaller, because it's still pretty rigid, and it's lightweight, and I mean there's no extra fiddling with it once you put it on. So that's an option as well. And this is another idea that came from Bob. So you can see on the 700 wheel, it is a much tighter fit, and the bars come out to the very ends into the brackets, but there's still plenty of space there to tighten them up, get it centered, and it looks nice. Got them both installed, so next time we go out, shouldn't have any problems with rocks in our hair. And it also makes it nice for when you go over puddles. You really can't stop getting water on yourself from your arms, from the front tires. Throwing up water and debris, because I'm not going to fit front fenders on either of these trikes. One, because I don't really like them, and two, they're kind of cost prohibitive, so I'm not going to do that. But the rear fenders look like they will be a nice addition, and should make it nice. So that's all for this tech time. Thanks for watching, and until next time, cheers.